Yeah. Oh. We're live? Oh, is that TV on? I don't think so. Well, the red thing's on, but. Oh, yeah. I can't see myself in the monitor.
The monitor seems to have power, but we can't see it
Excuse me, everybody. I'm just setting up here.
right now. Well, the red light's on.
Yeah.
Not on enough, huh?
Oh, well. There we go.
Or we just see our reflection.
I'm really going to start this show in just a minute here. I got to go get a couple more guitars, so hang on. Yeah.
Not blanking, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On this monitor too? Okay, go up there. You guys gotta do one of the connections.
How we doing? Is it going to happen? I look really pale on the monitor. It's kind of cool, actually. Okay. Stratocaster. Oh, that looks blue. It's really brown. Cool. And then, let's get rid of this while I'm at it. Oh, boy. Well, I'm running a little late and I have a cold. When I see the monitors, my skin is a very light blue, grayish blue. My blue jeans are brown. Now they're green. Getting closer. Now they're brown. Yeah. See this blue Stratocaster behind me? It's really a brown sunburst.
There you go.
Hey, that's normal. Blue jeans. Here's a blue guitar. Wow. Okay, hang on. I'm just going to start this show somehow. I'll try to. Oh, yeah. Did I forgot something here. I'm sorry. What a way to start a year. I forgot to plug the Sonic Stomp into the, hang on. Got to get another cable.
Yes, this is do-it-yourself television.
Yeah. Well.
And anyone who would like to do this should come on down to the corner of South Dubuque and Lafayette, and you can make your own show.
You might even do a better job than I'm doing here, huh? Wouldn't be hard. Okay.
Of course, you've made 200 of them.
That's right. You'd think by now I'd know what I was doing. But this is a Sonic Stomp, by the way. I forgot to plug in the Sonic Stomp for some reason. But here it is now. And I think there's a battery in there. You know, maybe there isn't a battery in there. Well, you know, there's no battery in there. I don't know if this whole chain's going to work. I've been fooling around with this at home. And some of these little boxes in the floor, you know, I take batteries. So I decided rather than bring in all these power supplies, to be quite technical, there's a thing, a daisy chain. You can get one power supply, you know, a 9-volt power supply with 1,000 milliamps.
Right.
And then you can put a daisy chain on an adapter, and you can actually plug, like 6 stomp boxes into the same you know, the same stomp box. I mean, the same wall wart is what they're called, wall warts.
Yeah.
See?
Yes, I'm familiar with well, everybody's got wall warts at home.
Right. So I've done that, and then things go wrong with some of them. Some of them don't like that. They don't want to be on the same circuit as the other ones. So I've had a couple of these on circuits.
And some of those wall warts are real bad about picking up circuit noise from the house.
That's right. And my house is really noisy. So I've had all these issues, you see. I've only had like 3 pedals or one pedal sometimes hooked up at home. So now I've got all these pedals and all these guitars. And I was going to be here early to set it all up. And then I end up late. And this thing won't go back in. What's wrong? You know, I really run into trouble. I have Sarah help me out with these things. You know, she's talented. Maybe I'm.
Anyway, all those people on your TV set telling you don't drive unless you have to be somewhere. All right, it's slick out there.
Yeah, well, I almost ran over a couple of people there. Which is another one of those things. Okay. Everything's plugged in. We'll see if it works. Let's take this one. This is a Mexican-made Players Strat with noiseless pickups. And, yeah, so I was... For those of you watching this show on YouTube in Turkey or whatever, trying to struggle with the English that I'm attempting to speak, it snowed, and it was also a freezing fog last night. It was very slick. So as I was driving here, hang on, I'm going to turn this on here. Is that on? Wait a minute.
Is it plugged in?
Maybe not. Oh, I forgot to plug it in. I know. Hang on. I had to forget something. All right, hang on. I didn't bring a power cord for it. I brought the other amp has a power cord, and I was just going to have them share. All right, hope this fits properly. Be right with you. It would be that way, wouldn't it? Hey, it's on. It's got tubes. Gotta warm up. All right, so my story is that driving over here, I was, oh shoot, look what I've done. There are these young women walking across the street on a very much a side street across the major thoroughfare. And they were like making little steps, looking because it was slippery. You know, it was slippery for them walking. It's very slippery for me driving. I was going maybe 15 miles an hour, and nothing is happening. Okay, that's on. Ah. Something's happening. Anyway, so they walk right in front of me. I slammed on the brakes. I have the anti-lock brakes. I have a late model car with good tires, anti-lock brakes, and I was going slow. But I stamped on the brakes, I pumped the brakes, I did everything, and
You're not supposed to pump anti-lock brakes.
I know.
That defeats the anti-lock.
Well, the anti-lock wasn't doing me any good anyway, so I tried that. And nothing was happening, except I was just sliding in there. And I slowed down a little bit, and they were just like right in front of me. It was perfect. But I managed to slow down enough, and just as I got, as I got past the danger zone, one of them turned around and looked, because you could probably hear that, this.
Yeah.
And I thought about,
Okay. Sarah was patiently waiting for the guitar sound check.
well, that's a sound check for the guitar. Excuse me. Something's going on here. I don't know what. I'm sorry. I'm having a terrible show. I have a cold. I'm day late, dollar short. This is not the tone I wanted. Can't get somewhere. Sonic Stomp.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year to you, Mr. Skoveski. All right.
Yeah, our first show of 2015.
Started a little rough, but what am I going to do now? Oh, I know what I'm going to do now. All right. Well, welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. And they call me on the phone and they ask me, they say, hey, man, what's your show about anyway? And I say, oh, it's about an hour. About guitar players, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So here's the deal. If you want to call me on the phone, and you know, the number will probably appear on your screen at some point. You can ask me questions about the care and feeding of your guitar, what kind of guitar is right for you, how to play the guitar, some related topic like the guitarrón, the sitar, the guitarra, luz, vihuelas, banjos, balalaikas, bouzouki, bajos, sextos, tibles, cavaquinhos, mandolins, banjolins, mandoras, mandolas, you know, anything, pipe organs, piccolos, you know, accordions and ocarinas, clarinets and clavinets, trombones. Did I say, yeah, trumpets, cornetos, I don't know. Just, you know, anything about music, politics, world events, your own personality problems, that's fine, but keep it clean. This is a family program. All right. So I haven't exactly been on vacation. I've been kind of, you know, playing the gigs and everything and doing my thing, but I've been doing all this different stuff, you know, just making sounds, you know, and different things and fooling around with, it's like, this guitar, actually, a guitar fell over on a stand and broke off one of the strings in this guitar, which is kind of a funny story. Last night, and I restrung it, which means it's staying out of tune, but I finally, once and for all, figured out how to tune when you have a slot of tuners. See, most of these little tuners up there have a hole through it, but this has a big groove in the top of it. And it's a design feature which makes it really hard to put the string on unless you know what to do. And I finally figured out what to do. There's a hole in the middle of it. If you cut the string off, just so it's, you know, not too much slack, you stick the little string down the hole and then wind it around, it stays in place. So after all these years, I haven't had this guitar very long, and it's the first time I noticed it had slotted posts on the machine tuners. So anybody out there who has slotted posts and dread restringing their guitar, if you know the trick, it's not so bad. I did it rather easily. Okay, so I have a bunch of pedals I brought with me, and they're kind of all in a row here, kind of a mess, but first off I have the Humdy Bugger. Now this has the noiseless pickups. It's actually pretty good about it. The other one, the Golden Sunburst one, has LASIK pickups on it. Oh, here we go. So here's over here is the Humdy Bugger by Electro-Harmonix. It takes the hum out. Here's a Blues Driver, which gives a little crunch if I want it. Here is a small clone, which somebody very kindly gave to me as a Christmas present. Maybe father of one of my students, or maybe he'll be a student again himself someday, but this is actually a very nice chorus pedal, Electro-Harmonix. And I tend to have it, kind of turned down low, so it's not the... let me show you. So here's like where I have it. It's a little bit of chorus. Now without it, it sounds like this. Like that's just a little reverb from the Hall of Fame reverb we're going to get to in a second here. But here's a little chorus. If I crank the chorus way up like this, we get this. But I turn it down like that, and it sort of adds a little shimmer to it. Hang on, I gotta blow my nose again. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
It is that season.
Yeah, well, normally I'm able to avoid these things, but anyway, so that's a little chorus. The next one is a TC Electronics Hall of Fame reverb, and I have it set at Hall, and there's not a whole lot of reverb on it. Let me take off the chorus here, and see, that's all reverb. If I turn it off, this is no reverb. See, no echo. Now, if I turn it way up, hang on a second. Okay, I turned it to church mode, and I didn't turn it up all the way, but I turned it up a bit more. So that's like, that's a lot of reverb. But that's still church mode. Church is like a bigger room. It's like the sound of the sound reverberating off the walls. If you play in like a large concert hall or a church or a cave or something like that, you get all this reverb, like a cathedral. And this is called church. I have other reverbs that have, cathedral setting, which is like huge reverb. But I'm going to go back down to hall here. This is hall. It's not turned up very loud. And there's one called room, which is much smaller, even. That sounds like this. A little bit. It's nice, but, But, yeah. Okay, and over here I got my Electro-Harmonix 360 looper. If anybody's ever watched this show before, I usually loop on this show. I mean, half the time I loop anymore. It's just a thing. So if I want to go do something like a... See, now I just recorded that. What would happen if I turn that Blues Driver on? I just erased it forever and ever. So it's a looper. And then, last but not least, I have my Sonic Stomp by BBE Electronics. And it's a sonic maximizer. And I have this one. I liked it so much I actually got the bigger one. And it doesn't do all that much, I don't think, for this guitar and this setup. It makes it a little bit, it kind of straightens out the sound waves, makes everything a little cleaner. With it on, with it off, it's a little thinner. But with my acoustic electric guitars, especially my nylon string ones, it makes a huge difference. It just makes this clarity, it's beautiful clarity. So anyway, I see I got fingerprints all over the place. So with all my sort of spare time I've had, because I'm not teaching as much, people have been on vacation. Well, college where I teach is, having their winter break. So I've been sitting around in my little dark room there, with all my guitars and things, trying to figure out how to make things sound better. And of course, I might have acquired a couple of guitars along the way. I haven't had this one very long. I've got this down that guitar shop on Pro Shop down on Gilbert Street in Iowa City. It's used, Mexican-made. Brand new strings. Mexican-made Stratocaster. With the noiseless pickups, and I think I do a good job down there in the Baja Peninsula. It's California too, but anyway.
Lower California.
Lower California, yeah. I actually brought another Stratocaster and a Telecaster, also from Mexico. I have one American-made Stratocaster and one American-made Telecaster, which is actually G&L. Anyway, kind of fun.
So, upcoming personal appearances?
Well, I'll be at the Tuscan Moon on Saturday for sure, and probably on Friday. Some people are going to have a little party down there. I was going to show up. I'm getting laid off on Fridays is a theory. I think I will be there on Friday this week because of there's a party. And whether or not I'm going to be downstairs, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to show up with a guitar on Friday. I'm going to go to a wedding rehearsal, and I'm going to hightail it out of there and go to Tuscan Moon, be there by 6:30. And whether I'm upstairs playing for a private party or down there playing for the audience, I don't know. If you want to go to Tuscan Moon and hear me play guitar, you might call them and say, hey, is that guitar player going to be down there? It would help me out, you see. Because they're cutting back on me a little bit, you see. So, but I'll be there Saturday night. Because Saturday I got the wedding, and then I'll leave the wedding and go play the Tuscan Moon. And probably a little after 6 until 10, you know, if people stick around long enough. Tends to get slow after the holidays. Yeah. And that'll be the Journey Church at 10:30 on Sunday morning. I haven't gotten fired yet. I, show up with Stratocasters, a Lamborghini yellow Flying V guitar, and I still haven't been fired, so I'm still there providing musical meditation and stuff. They're nice people. It's a Church of Christ, but it's very liberal and very open to people. They're welcoming of people like gay people, for instance, who maybe have got thrown out of their own churches and stuff. But so I'll be there on Sunday. And I'm doing a wedding, but I guess you can't just go to that unless you're invited. I was invited to play guitar at it, so.
I don't know, Wedding Crashers, the movie was a big hit.
Didn't see it, though. That was my thing. Yeah. I have a problem with, like, watching movies. I get embarrassed, easily. Like, I can't watch this, and I want to leave. Now, the thing is, if I watch it on my computer at home, I can always pause it.
Yeah.
And if I were sitting on the sofa watching with somebody else, I might get in trouble. But if I get up and run out of a movie theater,
Well, I watch most movies on DVD.
yeah, you can stop it. But if you're sitting there with your wife or something and she wants to see it and you can't stand it, you say, oh no, he's going to do something stupid, I can't watch. Hang on, I'm sorry. I brought my own tissues and yeah. So yeah, I'll be at Tuscan Moon this weekend, and I've got that wine, the winery in West Branch. A couple of gigs coming up in March and April. I'm looking for more Friday things, so I need to get out there and hustle more. I did go out and make some connections, but I don't like hustling gigs. I like to get a gig and just show up every week. It's kind of selfish of me. Some people like the conquest. They're like hunters.
Yeah.
So I'm rather just sit there and wait for the waiter to show up. But anyway, never mind. So my goal for this show here is I own everything here except for this amp that on here. This is an Excelsior. I'm not sure if they make them anymore. It's a Fender. It's like a retro pawn shop special, but it has a 15-inch speaker in it, and it's a 12 or 13 watt tube amp. So it's like a low wattage, the big speaker. And so what I'm wondering, and at some point in the show, I'm going to switch over to this other amp that I brought over here, which is an acoustic, and that's the name of the brand. It's acoustic, and it's made in China. It's a lot of plastic parts on it, but it's actually not a bad amp. It's very, very plain. 12-inch speaker, maybe 40, 50 watts or something of solid state power. This is, of course, a tube amp, but this is a Fender, and it's it's much more expensive. It's used, and it's not mine. I'm just borrowing it to see how I feel about it. I might end up owning it, but I want to see if there's enough of a difference between this tube amp here. Which is the thing I like about it is it's really simple. It doesn't have any doesn't have all the preset electronics like all this amp modeling stuff that most of the amps have these days. It's very simple, very old-fashioned. Because I have all these pedals. See, this is my reason for doing this show. See, I got all these pedals and all these guitars, and I want to find good sound, something versatile, and So I think it sounds pretty nice. But before I can even get to switching amps, I'm going to switch guitars real quick. volume. By the way, that was not turned up very loud at all. It's like turned up to 2.5. It goes up to 10 or whatever.
Although this may look like a big studio, we're actually in a relatively small room.
Well, that doesn't stop a lot of guitar players. Anyway. Oh, I guess I don't need this strap. I got one already on this guitar. This is a. The amp actually is a pawn shop special. It's easily modified, this amp is. So somebody had already modified it, and what was a simple toggle switch, they changed to a pot for the tone, so you can like dial in the tone, which I haven't done anything with, but I'm serious.
We should confess that although you are real, the studio is computer generated.
That's right. You're real too, Bob. I think you are anyway. Oops. There is there's a theory. People are trying to a hypothesis really more than a theory that we live in a holographic universe. That none of this really has any substance. This is all a holograph. And it's like almost like we might be computer generated because there's very little. That's different. There's very little substance. An atom has very little substance to it. It's mostly energy, things, electromagnetism, things.
Yeah.
Mostly space. And
theoretically, you could walk through walls.
Yeah, but so there's this hypothesis, which there's some fairly heavy dudes in universities in places like England are pursuing that none of this is real. This is all. Aborigines in Australia have the thing called the dream time, and they don't think this is real. So
I went to a Celine Dion concert a couple years ago, and she sang a duet with a hologram of herself,
I see.
which I didn't see the point of, but
Well, it's kind of cool. We did that here on Tom's Guitar Show. It's been a long time ago, but
right.
I was
Yeah,
standing
you played
here,
with your triplets.
Yeah, another Tom walked out here, and another Tom walked out here, and one was a rather surly bass player playing a black bass guitar, and the other one was a kind of a beige Tom with a sunny attitude, kind of a beige attitude, playing a yellow Telecaster. And we jammed together. I meant to do that again someday.
Of course, most of the time, this is essentially a one-man show. Celine's show has backup dancers and backup singers and musicians. And it's not like there's not someone there who could sing backup with her.
Right. There's some probably very fine. I'm sorry, this is If I turn off the reverb, I could hear it better. That's my problem. Am I there yet? I actually included a tuner, a guitar tuner pedal in my equipment bag, but I forgot to get it out because I don't think about using those. All right. The chorus on too. This guitar, speaking of pawn shops, I actually acquired at a local pawn shop. Some guy told me I was playing at the Mill a week ago Sunday for a shindig there for Sonny Lott. Sonny was on the show a bunch of times years ago. He was a drummer, and he died a year or so ago. He fought cancer for many years and died. So this is basically his birthday party. Sonny's no longer with us, but anyway, so I was up there, and Tony Brown was there, and his members of his band, and I'll blow my nose again. I'm sorry. Anyway, so it's all right. So Tony Brown's guitar player from his band was playing there too, and I'd met him before. He actually sometimes goes to the church that I play at, and he had a Japanese Fender, which was very different from a lot of Fenders. It had a very different design feature. It was nominally a Stratocaster, but the whole pickup thing and everything was different. And it was a fine guitar, but it was made at a certain period when they were making a lot of Fenders in Japan and not making them in the U.S. or Mexico. So he got it really cheap, and he loved it, because he got it at the pawn shop. And he told this story about this guy who had violated his parole and had to go back to prison for 5 years. And this made his wife very angry, and she took all his gear to the pawn shop and sold it cheap. I mean, really cheap. Things that were actually quite valuable. I mean, you could say, well, it's just a used, Asian guitar, but actually, there are people there who really like those Japanese Fenders. And I never actually owned one. I guess I had a couple in the inventory when I had a guitar shop a long time ago, used. But I never had one that I took out and played. So that was Sunday. So Monday, I went running down to the guitar shop to see if there's anything there, and there were no extremely inexpensive Japanese Fenders. But there was this one, which is Mexican, and a nice guitar. I mean, well built, but it has the LASIK pickups, and these are the pickups people tend to put on Stratocasters. They're made in a company that makes pickups for various guitars, but especially Stratocasters. They have LASIKs, and they have a different tone and everything like that. I've been hearing about them for years. I've never had any LASIKs of my own. So
It's an aftermarket pickup, or
yeah, it's an aftermarket pickup. You put them on, solder them onto your guitar, and so I didn't have any money. I did actually purchase a guitar a while back, and I paid it off. And I didn't have enough money. I had, I think it was this is like $199, which is actually a pretty good price for it, because the pickups alone are $80 a piece or something, $85 a piece to get the pickups. But I didn't have that much, and all I had on me was $165, and not counting a couple of $2 bills I stuffed in my wallet. But so I asked him if I could, buy it for $150. They said no, they got it for 100 and this. And I said, well, I only got 165, and if I give you 165, I won't be able to pay the sales tax. So I said, okay, 165. So I bought this guitar for $165. It had been mutilated in a few ways, but nothing significant. Somebody had put eye screws in the for strap buttons. I mean, it probably had regular strap buttons, but there's some rock star who puts eye screws in them, because it's like galvanized steel hardware store, cheap, because it's cool. Looks like
looks grunge.
That's grungy, yeah. So and it was all ripped up here, and I went to the hardware store and agonized over how I could try to fill in the wood and putty and stuff. So what it is, I just put a screw in here, and I put my strap button back here like I always do, because I like the guitar to hang up like a classical guitar. And I put a black screw in here with a washer around it, and then I use a black Sharpie, and I colored it with a wood. So I mean, it was like.
So it doesn't show on TV.
Yeah. So, and you can't really hardly see it at all. So anyway, but these are very different. This is a very different voice. It's basically the same guitar as the other one. It's got the same kind of woods, essentially. It's made in Mexico. And Sting and Tune is badly as the other one, too. Okay, hang on. I'll turn off the reverb and the chorus.
Oh, you did bring it in from 10-degree weather.
Yeah, well. I've been fighting humidity. I mean, So those of you watching this on YouTube in Hawaii, I just want you to know that it's going to be like 15 below zero Fahrenheit tonight,
And colder tomorrow night.
And colder than that, yes. And
with a wind chill factor that adds another 8 or 10 degrees.
Which probably won't affect me inside, but when it's that cold, all the moisture freezes out of the air. And like last night, we had frozen fog, which adhered to things. It made it very slippery. But anyway, so what I'm bantering on about is it's a constant battle of humidity.
Or lack thereof.
Lack thereof.
Because with the furnace running all the time, there's not much humidity in the houses either.
That's right. And I have two steamers, like, vaporizers.
Yeah.
Johnny has a cold, but the fix.
Right.
I have two of those in my music room now.
Yeah.
And I should get a better humidifier, but I always run into problems with those. And they don't last a night, though, is the problem. Tonight I'm going to wash all my jeans, and I'm going to hang them on mic stands around the room. For that, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning shift,
Right.
Anyway, so this Strat, oops, that's a nice guitar. I think it just sounds great. It's fine. It's I think I paid I paid more than $400 for the blue one used, and this one was $165, counting the tax. So sometimes there was another one, Japanese, actually, a Jaguar or something. There was a pawn shop that was like kind of more than the price was pretty high, and I don't know why. Sometimes things are low and sometimes things are high. So I try not to go there, but now I'm going back to the pawn shop. Broken dreams, like a guy, he goes back to jail and his wife takes all his musical gear and anyway, I guess she was angry. But anyway, hang on. One thing before I listen to that thumping bass though. Before I give up, I'm going to turn off the this and this, and even the sonic stomp. I'm going to turn off the humdybugger and see what we have here. It hums some. So anyway.
So the humdybugger is working.
Yeah, the humdybugger works, and I highly recommend a humdybugger. I'm thinking about getting a second one, just in case for some reason this one fails, or for different rigs. Sometimes I have like go bags. Like I'm.
Have we ever had that amp before on the show?
Nope.
No,
That's my story. This amp is.
That's on loan.
I'm just trying it out. It's an Excelsior, and it's called it's like a pawn shop special or something like that. It's meant to look like something that somebody modified in a pawn shop or something. And it's well, the humdybugger's on full blast. Okay, this is a Mexican Telecaster, very white. Probably washing out on your TV screen, but it's notoriously noisy, and I'm hearing it. Now I also not only have a humdybugger, but I have not with me, but I have a multi-effects pedal made by Zoom, and it has a noise gate. So in between notes, it shuts off the noise. Ability to tune. Okay, I'm going to turn on the Hall of Fame, the small clone, and the sonic stomp. And now I've got this. Pretty cool, but noisy. Oh boy. Okay, hang on. I gotta do this again. Well, I was going to try to do a good show this week. That's my plan. And
but this week we look like do-it-yourself TV.
Yeah. I always want to play jazz on a Telecaster. I don't know what's wrong with me. I should be, should be doing this. But maybe I don't feel like it. Anyway, so I was going to do a good show, but maybe I'll say, well, that's great. So I got this out of the way, so the rest of the year I'm just going to do better and better and better. See, I try to justify this. I had a plan. It's just, Anyway, okay, so this sounds pretty good, except for the hum. To this amp, which is tuned up. I gotta see what it's tuned up to. Yeah. It's not even up to 2. Pretty loud. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to really quickly change amps. Just give me 1 second here, because I know I've got only a few minutes left. And I want to see how it sounds to this very ordinary amp. Don't go anywhere now. Okay. Take this out of the way. Take this out of the way. Turn you off. And okay.
I was watching CSI on TV the other night, and the sciencey cops were talking about how cat gut is really sheep gut or goat gut. Is anybody using actual gut anymore, or is it all nylon?
Excuse me. Yeah, people use real gut.
Yeah.
Oops, I forgot to plug this in. They're expensive strings, and
I'd think they'd be nowhere near as uniform as they could make out of nylon.
right. Well, they're that doesn't sound too bad. The other one's better, but of course I had this one turned up a lot louder.
I'll bet 99% of the audience can't hear the difference.
Yeah, I can hear it though. You know, one difference is
What's that?
I'm not hearing a lot of noise.
Oh.
I'm hearing just a little bit of a hiss.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing that terrible. Let's take the humdinger off. Yeah. Huh. It doesn't sound as good, but it's not humming as badly. Actually, it sounds.
Well, tubes tend to be noisier than solid state.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know what to
There's
think.
bits in those fire bottles to vibrate and whatnot.
Yeah, fire bottles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's. Yeah, I mean, it's old technology.
Yeah.
This is just all solid state. It's very, very simple little amplifier. I kind of like it because this acoustic, because it has a couple things in its favor. One, it's very simple,
Yeah.
and two, it's really cheap. And I figure if I drop it or if I lose
Yeah,
it,
solid state's a lot more rugged than tubes too.
yeah, right. And it's like but this is just a cheap thing that I bought on a whim at like the Guitar Center.
Yeah.
It's a fairly good size. G35FX. I don't know if that's 35 watts or. It has some effects on it, but nothing very spectacular. Actually, it has a delay that's not too bad. Let's see if we can get the delay to work here. Yeah. So actually, it's funny. It's not making all that noise. I don't know what to think now. I like the tube amp thing, but. And I guess, the blue Stratocaster back there has a noiseless pickups on it. And it was very good, With the Humdebugger too, I mean, it's fine.
Right.
Huh. I don't know what to do now. See, I have another, the thing about the XL series has a really big speaker and it's low wattage. I have a 30 or 35 watt, whatever, PV Delta Blues, which I almost never have out because it's too loud. And but it has a 15-inch speaker, and it's all tubes. It's all very retro. It's actually probably from the 90s, 1990s. I've had maybe a couple tubes replaced over the years, but
It was probably retro in the 90s.
it was retro in the 90s. It's like a 50s type of thing. It's got the brown, the tan tweed, on the cabinet and everything. It's like, but I like that amp, but I'm always looking for something, and this actually is. Pretty nice. Because I want to actually play this white guitar, because it sounds cool. It's got this maple, very very pale, like hard, dense maple neck. But look, by playing like this, I look like some jerk with playing a Telecaster with pretty much textbook classical guitar technique. Anyway, I'd say if you want to have a nice dinner somewhere, go to Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna. It's like less than a half-hour drive from Iowa City. If you have a car.
If you have a horse and buggy.
Or you can take a horse and buggy in the Amish country there, and I'll be there Saturday night for sure. And we'll see what happens.
Anyway, exit 80 off of 218.
Yeah, I just take 218 to Highway 22, but you can take Highway 1.
Yeah.
That'll get you there too. They've done a lot of work on Highway 1. They widened it.